guys. Trey, go downstairs.
No, I want to see the camera.
What's your name?
Chay-Chay.
Chay-Chay?
Not Chay-Chay.
Chi-Chi?
Not Chay-Chay.
Shay-Shay?
Not Chay-Chay.
Tay-Tay?
Not Chay-Chay.
Trey-Trey?
Yeah.
Oh, hi Trey-Trey. Welcome to the Lion's Den. Now get out.
Put your butt.
Get out. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Mia's Main. My name is Mia if this is your first time here, and welcome to the Lion's Den. In today's video, I will be talking all things stay board. Y'all have really been coming at your girl about these stay board videos, so here I am today to give you part one of my stay board videos. Today, I will be talking all about the theory portion and how to pass it on your first try, okay? We ain't got time to be out here taking this test multiple times, okay? We're not doing that. Now, I am located in the state of Tennessee. I know that everybody's state requirements are different, so I can only speak on my state, and that is Tennessee. I did go to a Paul Mitchell school, so there's that. A little backstory really quick to kind of help you guys understand. At Paul Mitchell, we were supposed to have a class called Final Phase. I was part of the hybrid program where we just did a big transition with this whole coronavirus situation and the pandemic. So we went through a lot of changes and it kind of messed up my education. So I did have to teach myself a lot. Well, I didn't have to teach myself, I had to help myself prepare a lot on my own in order to pass this test. Now in our Final Phase class, we did a little bit, but not not nearly as much as we probably should have, simply because we were transitioning teachers. A lot of our teachers quit. It was just a lot. It was a mess. It was messy. The lack of preparation from the school made me go a little bit harder and figure it out on my own. So this is just my advice to you that I personally did for myself in order to pass the state board test on the first try, okay? Because we're not going back. After we do it the first time, that's it. And we're gonna move on to the next, okay? For the state of Tennessee, all that you need to pass is a 70. If you get a 70, a 71, you're fine, okay? This is not the ACT. You do not have to put that on your application when you go apply for a salon saying that you made a 70. Don't nobody care. As long as you pass, that is all that matters. So I will tell you how to pass today. Personally, I made an 82. I'm not proud of it because I know that I could have done better, but I'm proud because I didn't have to retake it, okay? So that's all that matters. So without further ado, let's just hop straight into the video on all of my tips in order for you to be successful with your theory portion of the state board exam. I just kind of wrote down a couple of little notes, okay? So bear with me. The very first tip that I have for you guys is to pay attention at school. Personally, I don't have a very good attention span, and I can find a dot on the wall and be more focused on that than my instructor. So pay attention, do not cheat on your test, because you're setting yourself up for failure and you're gonna stress yourself out and you're gonna be trying to cram all this information that you would have learned over months and months at a time now into a few weeks. So I recommend that you pay attention at school, take good notes, ask questions, and yeah, don't be on your phone like me. Just don't do it. It was also really hard for me because a lot of my theory was in person at school, and then a big chunk of it was online because we did online school. It was very hard for me to pay attention during the online portion because I'm at home, so there's plenty of distractions around me. There's plenty of things for me to get myself into that don't require me to pay attention. I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. I would turn my instructor all the way down and put him on the other side of the room and be doing what I wanted to do. So I recommend that you pay attention. Pay attention. Next, I would recommend that you find a comfortable place to study. Now, I personally cannot study at home. I'm a library type of person. I would go to Barnes & Noble or a Starbucks, coffee shop, anything like that that will keep me away from where I know I can venture off and do whatever I want to do. Just go to a coffee shop or somewhere that you can, focus. Now me, I don't like to be somewhere too quiet. When I was in college, I would go to the library, but I would have to get a room where I can play some music. So I would just play music softly in the background and do my work that way. But I can't just go and be in silence. But if you can, go find you somewhere that's more isolated and do your thing, okay? Just focus on your work. Personally, I recommend going to a coffee shop or somewhere where you can buy a little snackety snack or, get you something to drink. So That's what I want to do. If y'all hear my nephew in the background, I am so sorry. He a little turned. My next tip would be to remove distractions. I would put my phone on do not disturb and I would turn it upside down. I'm not looking at it. I'm not checking it. Like, just, that's the main thing that distracts us as human beings. We like to see what's going on Instagram and Twitter and whatever else that we might use. No, turn your phone off if you have to. But I have an iPhone and I have the option to put it on do not disturb, so therefore notifications will not be alerted on my phone. They might pop up but you won't see them because your phone is face down, right? Yeah. But remove your phone. If you need to, put your AirPods in and put a little background music on, if you can focus like that. Sometimes I can and sometimes I just need to be quiet, but because I'm in a coffee shop, there's still noise going on around me, so it balances out. But remove all the distractions if you can, okay? The next tip that I would highly recommend is to pray often. I'm the type of person who will literally just talk to God, but I would just pray for guidance, pray that you can retain the information that you are studying so that you can remember it on your test. I pray that He could remove self-doubt, and when I second guess myself, that's when it all goes and hits the fan. So I've asked Him to remove all of the negative thoughts from my mind and just help me to remember and understand the information that I was studying. So talk to God, y'all. Just pray. Pray before you study every time. Pray before you take the test. And yeah. The next tip that I would recommend is to take your time. Do not try to cram everything the night before. I have had some people who went to school with me that literally crammed the night before and might have failed by maybe 1 point, but you gotta allow yourself time to study and to remember it. I'm the type, I gotta sleep on it, and when I wake up the next day, got it. But take your time. Do not try to cram all that information in one night, because you're gonna stress yourself out and you are not, I'm not gonna say you're not gonna do well, but you won't do as well as you would if you won't do as well as you would if you took your time and actually studied and prepared yourself for your test. Take breaks. I was in Barnes & Noble from sun up to sundown, literally. They had to kick me out. But in between that time, I did take a few breaks. So I would probably go and get a cup of water, or I would just get up and stretch and kind of walk around, or I would call somebody and talk on the phone for a minute. Just, you gotta remove yourself from the study. What is the word? Like I was saying, take breaks in between what you are studying so that you don't overdo it. You're gonna burn yourself out, you're gonna stress yourself out, and you're not gonna retain the information because you're trying to do too much at one time. So just take your time, pace yourself, and take breaks in between your study time. Go get some food, go call somebody, go listen to some music, scroll on Instagram, but don't get caught up, okay? If you have to, set a timer so that you can know, like, okay, I'm only taking like 15 minutes, or I'm only taking an hour, or however long you want to take, but make sure you come back and revisit the information. Also, you don't have to study all day. That's just what I do. I need to sit there and I need to study all day. But then the next day I could take a break, or I could study less. So pace yourself, do what's best for you, the type of test taker that you are, and set yourself up for success, okay? The last thing that I'm going to talk about are my study tools and everything that I use. My school did provide us with some study guides after we begged a lot. They provided us with a 250 question study guide. I made mine into note cards because I know that I can memorize the order of the answer and answer choices over here. So I had to personally make mine into note cards, but they did give us a study guide. So like I said, I turned my study guide into some note cards, guys. I turned my study guide into note cards. This is the most efficient way for me to study. What I did was I wrote the question. So I wrote the question here, and then I would write down the answer choices, and on the back I would put the correct answer. This is most efficient for me because I cannot see the answer and I can go one at a time, opposed to if I had it on the paper, it's overwhelming, okay? It's very overwhelming. So I have to do note cards, and it's easier to quiz yourself this way. I tried to get people to quiz me, but it was overwhelming for them because there are so many cards. I have over 500 cards, so it was better for me to just quiz myself anyways. And what I would do, since I have 2 containers, I would take them all out and put the ones that I don't know in one and the ones that I do know in the other, so that I would study the ones that I don't know more often than the ones that I know for sure. Even if I had to second guess myself, it would go into this pile just so that I can revisit it and go over it more and more. These aren't the actual whatever ratios to know and don't know, because I let somebody else borrow these cards, so that is why they are like they are. Note cards are the most effective way for me to study and to understand. And you're probably wondering, where did I get the rest of my questions? Well, let me tell you. You could go on Quizlet and type in Cosmetology State Board, and they will give you questions. I did Google a couple of cosmetology tests and just wrote down questions from there. I YouTubed, y'all, this is probably what saved me the most. I YouTubed Cosmetology State Board Prep or something like that. I'll leave a link to exactly what I used below, but I YouTubed Cosmetology State Board Prep, and it was just like a bunch of tests that were on a YouTube video, and then at the end they would give you the answers. So I did that and made me some note cards out of those. I took practice tests on our PSI website. I highly recommend you take the practice tests on the PSI website. However, you do have to pay for those. It's about $25 each, and it's probably like 150 questions. So I did go on there, but I don't know if I'm allowed to tell y'all this or not, but I still took pictures of those tests and made them into my note cards as well, so that I didn't have to continue to pay all that money. I was out of $100 because I took it 4 times. The questions changed every time, so I was able to get all those different questions and put them into note cards. So that was very, very effective. So on the PSI website, I took the test 4 times. Like I said, the first time I did really bad and I failed. The second time I barely passed. The third time I made like an 80 something. I was like, okay. And the 4th time, y'all, I made like a 95. So I was very proud of myself because I could see that I was actually retaining the information. I did not take them all in the same day, but yeah. The one that I got a 95 on was the one that I took literally right before I walked out of the door to go and take my test. So those are really all of these study tips that I have for you guys. Lastly, everything that was pretty much on my test. So what you highly want to study is hair cutting, color, perm procedures and all of that, and your state law. There's only a little bit of nails and a little bit of like extensions. Man, the most of the test was basically sanitation. That is the biggest concern when it comes to the state board test on both practical and theory. Your sanitation got to be key. So I scored really high in my sanitation because that was one of the top things that I made sure that I studied. You really want to know that. So, but that's pretty much it. Like, those are the main categories that you need to study, and you need to know it, and you need to know the difference between like all the different categories within that category. But yeah, that is pretty much it for this video. If you guys have any questions that I might not have answered or hit on, please leave those in the description below, and stay tuned for my video on the practical portion of the state board test. And yeah, oh my gosh, I hope you guys do well. I pray success over all of you guys' lives, and I will see you in my next video. I really hope I didn't forget anything. I think I hit everything.